Hey everyone, I'm back, and today we're going to be talking about Green Lantern. And this movie is directed by Martin Campbell, starring Ryan Reynolds, Blake Lively. And this movie was awful. I was kind of surprised in a way, although I was kind of prepared for how bad this movie was going to be. Not just from its reputation, but I have seen this movie before, but I didn't really remember much about it. So this movie being as bad as it wasn't necessarily a surprise, but at the same time, it wasn't a pleasant experience. There were some funny bad moments in this movie, which I did laugh at, but overall, it's not really worth it. This movie's 2 hours long. I guess that's somewhat of a positive. And finding any positive in this movie is pretty hard to find. Because honestly, once you start to break it down, there's really nothing about this movie that works. The CGI in this movie is terrible. It looks like a video game at best. And that's putting it lightly. And that's like 2011 video games. And it never once felt like it was a part of the environment at all. It felt super fake and just very distracting. And I felt like I was watching a movie that did not understand limitations. It did not understand how to properly blend CG with the environment, or make it feel like it's a part of the environment, like I've said already. And none of that happened here. It's just, what were you doing? And this movie is directed by the guy who did Casino Royale. Don't know what happened. He's made some good movies, but this is not one of them. And there are talented people working on this movie, not just Martin Campbell. James Newton Howard, he did the music for this movie. I don't hate Ryan Reynolds. Sure, he's in more bad movies than good. He's good in the Deadpool movies. He really works in those. And I really like Mississippi Grind. I think he's good in that. But in this movie, he just didn't fit the movie at all. His character was supposed to be serious, but he was also trying to add in some humor, but none of those jokes worked because it didn't complement the tone, and it always felt out of place. And honestly, Ryan Reynolds just felt out of place in this movie. The romance in this movie was awful. I couldn't get into it even for 1 second, and a lot of the performances in this movie are pretty bad. I couldn't believe anyone as their character. Mark Strong, he was the best part of the movie because he was the only element of the film that wasn't making me cringe. But in terms of positives, that's about it. The action scenes in this movie feel like a video game. And to top that off, there's barely any action in this movie. The first half of this movie, there's basically no action scenes, really. You have to wait until, the end of the movie, the climax, except for, one scene that happens in the middle. But most of the movie has no action scenes, and it's not developing the characters in a way that makes it interesting to watch. It's all very cliched and exactly what you would expect from a movie like this, and there's just nothing about it that's exceptional. Everything that's been done in this movie has been done better in other movies. I would rather be watching Batman Begins or Spider-Man. Much better movies over this. And going back to, I guess, the CGI in this movie, not just that the effects didn't feel like a part of the environment, but also the design of the creatures in this movie was just off-putting. And I just didn't care for any of them. They all just looked kind of goofy or unintentionally creepy in all of the worst ways. I don't know what they were going for. And also, I guess this is kind of nitpicky, but the Green Lantern ring in this movie just looked like a Cracker Jack toy or something. Like a prize toy or whatever. It didn't look like a ring, really, that was supposed to be in a movie where you're supposed to take it seriously. This movie also does a pretty poor job at passage of time. I literally have no idea how much time has passed between scenes, or really anything, really. Just things are just happening, and I have no idea if characters were supposed to learn something off screen or something. I have no idea. That's never properly communicated. And there are parts of this movie that genuinely reminded me of X-Men Origins Wolverine, the worst parts of that movie. I haven't even touched on the villain of this movie, and He's quite possibly the most pathetic villain I've seen in a movie in quite some time. Maybe of all time. Like, if I were to make a top 10 list of worst villains in a movie ever in terms of like poorly written or poorly realized or like something along those lines, this character would definitely make the list. And that's about all I have to say about Green Lantern. It was a disaster. It was a huge flop. Nobody liked it. And Ryan Reynolds pretty much makes fun of this movie all the time in the Deadpool movies. And, that's fun to watch. And it's for good reason. They just gave him an animated suit and not a real suit. And this movie deserves to be made fun of because there's nothing good about it. And the only, I guess, moderately positive thing about it is that it's under 2 hours. That's all it has going for it. And Mark Strong was fine in it. So with all that being said, I'm going to give Green Lantern a 1 out of 10. Thank you for watching my videos. As always, if you enjoyed this review, be sure to leave a like and comment down below you thought of Green Lantern, and my social media links, they will all be in the description, so follow me there. And last but not least, subscribe to be a part of Foley Nation, and I'll see you when I get my next review up, and that is going to be for Spotlight. So look forward to that, but until I get that up, thank you for watching and have a great day.